believe it or not, but the Clinton Foundation, in their wise wisdom and all-knowing, they're definitely for the benefit of the country. They believe that Bill Clinton is the right person to speak about young women empowerment. Yes, look at this press release that was released yesterday. This is from the Clinton Foundation. They say Vice President Kamala Harris, Stacey Abrams, Wes Moore, Mayor Muriel Bowser, Howard University President Dr. Wayne A. Frederick, and other global leaders join President Clinton, Secretary Clinton, Chelsea Clinton, and college students around the world for the 13th annual CGIU meeting with Howard University. So they have this press announcement where they've got all of these global leaders are going to come together and they're going to solve the world's problems. So they go on to say here that Bill Clinton will be sitting down with Kamala Harris and they're going to be talking about empowering women and girls in the U.S. and around the world. This is what it says right here. President Clinton and Chelsea Clinton first announced Howard University would serve as the virtual host campus on October 2020 as part of the university's homecoming program. Highlights of this week's virtual meeting. So in this meeting, by the way, that they're having is the 13th annual Clinton Global Initiative University meeting in partnership with Howard University. Okay, so this is their 13th annual. They get together and like I said, they try to solve the world's problems. And they say right here that President Clinton, highlights of this week's virtual meeting include key discussions with President Clinton and Vice President Kamala Harris on empowering women and girls in the U.S. and around the world. Tone deaf. Who thought Bill Clinton, of all people, would be the right person to talk about empowering young women and girls in the U.S. and around the world? Bill Clinton, who empowered Monica Lewinsky and the Epstein women and various different porn stars that he had been photographed with. I mean, is that Bill Clinton empowering? Is he the right person to be empowering women? It is very odd. And so Kamala Harris is getting a lot of heat. They're saying that she should have said no to this event. And I'm going to explain to you why she would have never said no to this event. But people are going after her. You know, look, everybody's kind of mocking the fact that Bill Clinton is the one that is going to be talking about empowering young women and girls around the world with his history of accusations of sexual misconduct. Obviously, what happened with Monica Lewinsky and him taking advantage of a White House intern. Obviously, with the reports of him visiting Epstein's Island on numerous occasions and being seen with some of the young women at Epstein's Island, going into, solo places alone with these women. So Bill Clinton, obviously, that's, we don't. But what people are now saying is they're kind of taking aim at Kamala Harris. And they're saying, yeah, but Kamala, you know that Bill Clinton's got this laundry list of activities and accusations against him that make him absolutely not the right person to be talking about empowering young girls and young women. Maybe you should have been having this conversation with Hillary Clinton instead, rather than Bill Clinton of all people, or even Chelsea Clinton or Stacey Abrams, or really any of the other number of women that are on the list that are going to be at this virtual meeting, right? But Bill Clinton is absolutely not the person to be talking about that specific issue. There are many other issues they're going to be tackling, like they're saying here, Chelsea Clinton is going to be talking about COVID-19, combating COVID-19, and climate change. They're going to be talking about social justice, systemic racism, civic engagement. There were a whole host of other topics that Bill Clinton could have been engaged in, but definitely not on empowering women and young girls around the world in the United States. So everybody's taking aim at Kamala Harris. Well, here's the thing. Kamala Harris doesn't really have a choice in all of this. Kamala Harris is a puppet. How have people not been able to get this through their minds just yet? I know many of us are onto this. I think there's a growing number of people that are kind of catching on to the fact that Kamala Harris is purely a puppet. But Kamala Harris, and I've been saying it from the time of the primary when she was still in the race, that she is a Clinton puppet. Specifically, very specifically. And that is not some conspiracy theory of, Kim just thinks that the Democratic Party is just run by the Clintons and everything's the evil Clintons' fault. No, legitimately, when you looked at Kamala Harris's campaign and who was running her campaign, it was all the former people running Hillary Clinton's campaign. Namely, first and foremost, Maya Harris, Kamala Harris's sister, was a senior advisor to Hillary Clinton, and then obviously would be a senior advisor, the most senior advisor to Kamala Harris. On top of that, what we knew during the primary was that Kamala Harris had inherited Hillary Clinton's entire Rolodex, that Maya Harris, who had strong connections, obviously, with Hillary Clinton, had somehow facilitated that Kamala Harris, the senator from California, would be the next the anointed candidate, that the Democratic Party was really putting all of their eggs in that basket. The Democratic Party really didn't want Joe Biden. They knew that Joe Biden was getting older, and he's obviously not fully, totally all, with it as much anymore, which we're going to find out way more about that tomorrow during the press conference. I might do a special segment earlier in the day about that, after it happens, but because got the birthday party. But Kamala Harris was given all of Hillary Clinton's resources, her fundraising Rolodex. That's huge. A candidate doesn't just hand that over. They ask for something in return for that. So when Hillary Clinton gave Kamala Harris the keys to her Rolodex and all of the fundraising, not only that, but also handed over some of her key advisors, specifically her key foreign policy advisors. So when Hillary Clinton handed those people over, her most trusted advisors, her largest donors, when she handed that over to Kamala Harris, she asked for something in return. And really what she asked for was to be able to control, because everybody knows from just listening for 10 minutes, you listen to 10 minutes of Kamala Harris speaking, she doesn't have any single ideas of her own. She stands there and she waits to be told what to say, what to think. She giggles, she cackles, and then she says something, and then oftentimes, most of the time, we saw this end up needing to be backtracked. People in her campaign basically maybe pulled her aside and said, Kamala, that's not the way we're going, actually. And then the next day she would issue a statement saying, no, actually, I didn't mean what I said. And that happened over and over and over and over during the campaign. So much so that she lost faith in the voting public. People did not want Kamala Harris. And you know the history of that. It was not only Tulsi Gabbard taking her out on the debate stage, but it was also the fact that Kamala Harris continued to backpedal on absolutely everything. She would say something that she thought was the right answer, and then the people behind the scenes who were really controlling her told her it was a different answer. And those people were Hillary Clinton advisors, Hillary Clinton's donors. That's who those people were. And that is not a conspiracy. That is actually known fact. It's all over the press, all in writing, who these people were that were controlling Kamala Harris's campaign. So, of course, Kamala Harris gets installed as the vice president of the United States because they anticipate that Joe Biden will not be able to serve a full term. Kamala Harris will become President Harris, which apparently Joe Biden is already calling her. But all of that was not done, unfortunately. And this is what I hate. I hate that it wasn't because of Kamala's own merit. I hate that. I don't want the first president of this country, the first female president of this country, to be somebody who just ended up with the presidency because Hillary Clinton gave her the keys to the kingdom and they moved Joe Biden off to the side and said, now you're up. That upsets me. I want the first woman president in this country to be elected fair and square, somebody who earned it. That's actually how we empower women and young girls in the United States and around the world, not just installing this figure that we know is going to be able to be easily controlled behind the scenes, someone who's not actually making the decisions, but is just waiting to be told what to say, because they know that them being anointed prom queen can be ripped away from them at any moment. So Kamala Harris has to do whatever the Clintons want, and that includes sitting down with Bill Clinton, of all people, to talk about empowering young women and girls. And that is because Bill Clinton has empowered Kamala Harris in many ways with the help of his wife. So that is, and I actually don't even know how much Bill Clinton has to do with, I know that Kamala Harris ended up with Hillary Clinton's Rolodex and Hillary Clinton's advisors, but those very well could have been picked up by Bill Clinton as well. So we just know that they were Hillary's on her campaign. So, but Bill Clinton might have had a huge hand in selecting all of those people. I don't know, but I know that this is an awkward conversation, but I certainly will be tuning in to find out, if there's a way to hear what Bill Clinton has to say about how he thinks he's empowering young women and girls.